4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglosh for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Okay, lots of big news today. First of all, we'll start with Google. Facebook has been targeted by an antitrust probe. U.S. Attorney Generals are set to file antitrust probe Monday, which was yesterday, okay? But the real question is, how will it impact advertisers? So, not at all, according to Google. We help everybody. We work with the regulators. We're the wonderfulest company in the world. So they say it won't matter at all. And it could be a couple of years before we see anything from this. Right. I think that's probably true. So don't get your hopes up if you're a Google competitor. Okay, here's one that I really want to touch on because I was watching relief efforts yesterday. And, they're filling planes with groceries and stuff and pulling people off these islands. But it turns out what I didn't realize was that, what is it said? Duffy writes that Nassau, which is about 150 miles south of where Dorian hit, was largely unaffected other than some torrential rain and local flooding. A little bit like Fort Lauderdale was basically unaffected. Hurricanes are, not as tight as tornadoes, but fairly tight. He says, but I was at the airport the other day. He says the Bahamas is a 550-mile-long archipelago, and Nassau is fine. And mostly that's where you go if you're going to the Bahamas on tourism, especially if you're flying in. It says we rely massively on tourism with 3 million American visitors. On Friday, I was at the airport in New Providence, and there were no tourists coming in from the United States. So if you booked in Nassau, don't worry about it. And if you're not, you might want to get a deal right now. My daughter's in the travel industry. I said, hey, you want to go to Bahamas like right now? It'd be really fun. Great scuba diving. My best dive ever was off the coast of Nassau. There's a cliff there that goes down 6,000 feet. And, I had some technical issues that was dragging me over the cliff. But other than that, it was spectacularly beautiful. And, that had nothing to do with the Bahamas. It had to do with my gear that I had fiddled with and was leaking. Anyway, besides that, go to the Bahamas. It's not a mess like you see on the news, typical news. Okay, that's said. Okay, here was an interesting story. I really like, when entrepreneurial innovation. And here's the deal. Food waste is a rotten problem. About 1/3 of food that's meant for human mouths ends up in the global trash heap. That's a lot. 33% just goes in the trash. And that means 1.3 billion tons of food go to waste each year, right? Yet still 1 in 10 people across the world are undernourished. And sometimes the worst of it is like the fruits and vegetables, which are just really getting to ripe, but they don't, there's 1 or 2 that are bad ones, and so they get rid of the whole batch. So in Finland, a grocery store chain called S-Market is testing out what it calls happy hours. Every night at 9 p.m., which is about when I like to go, the chain reduces the prices of the stuff that is getting toward the expiration date to 60% off in all of its 900 stores. Okay, other grocery stores across Europe have taken similar steps. So if you wanted to go there late at night, sneak in when your neighbors can't see, basically you've got an option. It sounds like a great option to me. I eat a lot of steaks. I'd love it. I said to the butcher, when do the steaks go on sale? Oh, never. 1 here, 1 there. That's about it. Well, it's a big deal. $4 a pound versus $12 a pound. Okay, so anyway, this is something I want somebody in the United States to try out. I'll go talk to Pat at Fox Brothers and see if the pig wants to do it. Okay? So what an idea, though. What an idea. Imperfect Produce has raised $47 million to deliver ugly produce from farmers to consumers. Okay, plant-based artificial peels that extend the shelf life of vegetables. And spoiler alert, has created software that helps businesses manage unsold inventory. Sounds like great ideas. And one of the things that happens with the thrown out food is you get a growing population of rats. So now we're having rat-preneurs. This is another great thing about capitalism. Where there's a need, we'll find it and fill it. Okay, rat reports. This doesn't mean rats have increased. When I first read this, I thought it meant rat population has gone up, 38%, which would be a big deal in the last year. But it really is reports of rats have gone up 38%. Now, I don't know whether that means there's more rats or not, but there's enough rats that somebody's calling them in. And New York has tried many things. New York has been an anti-rodent place. I think some of these are funny. In 2013, New York City thinks rat reproduction is the problem. Well, that's part of the problem. So they gave SenseTech a $1 million trial of a city-scale rodent contraceptive system. How do you get them to take those little pills in the little boxes, though? That's what I'd like to know. Anyway, then New York City goes and tries 5.6 million of Mint-X rodent-resistant repelling trash bags. See, I wasn't kidding. If you could get the grocery stores to do a happy hour, you could help the rat problem. Doesn't that sound crazy? New York City in 2017 decided that dry ice was a way to kill rats without chemicals. Okay. Bell Laboratory grabbed some of the $32 million revamped rat budget with a product called Rat Ice, though it doesn't sound like it's working. So now, in 2019, New York City thinks drowning rats in vinegar may be the best, and they're using a rat trap company called Rat Trap Inc. that offers a rat bucket. See, that's the ones I've seen have like a bait and the rat roll, and then it spins like a tin. Like you can use a Coke can and put the bait in there, and the rat will spin and fall into a bucket. I've seen that. Don't ask me if it works, but it's less than these $300 to $400 per piece. Go on YouTube, New York City. Anyway, but the pet control problem is booming. It's a $9 billion industry, okay? And LA has banned chemicals, basically. And so they're getting the bubonic plague out there. At least I've seen news reports that said so. North Dakota, a woman named Carrie Block stumbled across a novel pet control solution that involves spraying perfume on pine cones. And apparently the pests didn't like the perfume or the pine cones and built it into a pest control powerhouse that did $10 million in annual sales. Okay, so the point is, where there is crisis, there is opportunity. And that's what marketing is about. So we're going to cut this one short, and I'm going to do another one for tomorrow because I'll be traveling to Namoa. I hope you see me there. We'll probably do an interview, hopefully one or two, with some leading industry experts, and it's going to be so great. And it's downtown Chicago, and don't forget, WDMA will be gathering in the Fellini Lounge downstairs at the Radisson Blu at about 7:30 after the opening reception, which is sponsored by Oracle. I should have Oracle sponsor a WDMA reception. I'm going to have to talk about it. I got all kinds of free shirts from them. I need to get some sponsorships. And if you want to sponsor a WDMA meetup so we don't have to buy our own beer, that would be great. But as it is, it's serve yourself.